Okay, hey everyone, Jen here. In this short training, I'm going to talk to you about how you can fill your pipeline every month using LinkedIn efficiently. So, in this training, what I'm going to cover is a little bit about me, a little bit of high level stuff about B2B consulting and professional services, who we target on LinkedIn, what should we say to people on LinkedIn, how to talk to people on LinkedIn, a little bit about optimizing your profile, and then also about how you can add email to your outreach. So in brief about me, I'm a B2B consultant. I've been doing this since the middle of 2020. And in the last nearly 2 years, I've helped over 45 clients to land their own clients using LinkedIn, as well as to add email for that, to generate clients worth about 10 grand up to about 100 grand or even more on a regular basis. Basically, this training is what I do with my clients, but just in a nutshell and very high level. So for this to work for you, you should be ideally a B2B consultant. And if you're a consultant, you have the objective of generating your own business. So you're doing business development constantly. So whether that's networking, whether it's calling people, whether it's door knocking, whatever it is that you're doing to generate leads, I think this process can definitely help you. Essentially, you just have to be an expert in your field and you have to be running a business with a proven service that other people need. And what I'm going to start to show you is how LinkedIn is a very, very powerful portal to your ideal client. Now, the real fundamental principles of B2B consulting is that when people are paying high tickets, so 5 figures or 6 figures or higher for a contract, they are the people in power. So they're the ones buying a service. And it's less about us selling a service, but being bought. And so a lot about LinkedIn is about positioning yourself, raising your authority, raising your relevance, and positioning yourself in front of the right people so that they know you and that they're positioned to buy from you. Studies show that a really high percentage of B2B buyers, the ones in the decision-making position, they are willing to engage a sales professional who is known as an industry thought leader. So how do you do that if you're a small consultancy or you're a one-man band? Well, LinkedIn is a really great platform for that because it's a social platform as well as a big database of leads that you can reach out and connect to. Now, even if you work in the space where all of your business is won through tenders or calls for proposals, then this is still relevant to you because in many cases, tenders can be written for an end user in mind. So relationship is still critical to pre-positioning yourself for business. And large tenders can be rewritten, can be massaged, can be adjusted to favor a provider that essentially they would like to win. And so a lot of these principles are still pertinent to you if a lot of your business is won entirely by tenders. Essentially, what I like to tell people is, LinkedIn is your 24/7 networking event. It's a social platform combined with a business networking tool, combined with a database. So imagine if you're going to the conference of your dreams where all your ideal client is going. It's an industry leading event and it's published all the attendees to that conference. You would study that attendee list and highlight all the names and the decision makers within companies that you want to meet at the event. And then you would make a beeline to connect with them. Or you might even reach out and connect before the event and say, listen, we're both attending this event. Can we have coffee? Can we have a drink? I'd love to just chat to you and get to know you. Well, LinkedIn is that, but it's never ending. It's never stopping. It doesn't turn off. It doesn't have a start date or an end date. So using LinkedIn is such a powerful way of just finding people, reaching out to people, initiating a conversation or a call booking with people, and then being able to follow up with people, as well as sharing your content and your thought leadership. So let's start from the very beginning, like who are we targeting? Now, LinkedIn is very powerful for its search capability. Sales Navigator, the paid tool, which I recommend you get, it's about $80 a month. You can get team plans that make it cheaper for each of the users. But you're able to use the search criteria to find people by job title, by their seniority within a company. You can filter them by company size and company revenue. So you're only targeting, say, the Fortune 500 or a mid-tier company or a growing company or a shrinking company. You can isolate people by their geography. You can narrow down by industry, or you can search just by keywords. So particularly software, tools, skills, abilities, and things like that. Types of technology that the company are already using. And then there's other things. So things like what language is their profile or what language do they use in their profile? Are they active on LinkedIn? Have they posted in the last 30, 60, or 90 days? Are they attending events? Are they posting content by certain topics and keywords? Has their company experienced an event such as a funding event, like a merger, acquisition, or seed funding, or A round, B round, whatever? So there's so much data there that you are able to use to filter and categorize leads. So for example, if you're looking to find decision makers within manufacturing companies that supply technology to Silicon Valley technology companies. So you're looking within a very specific industry, within quite a specific geography and a certain size of company. So maybe you want to reach companies at minimum 50 employees up to about 500 employees, not too giant, because you want to actually reach the founder or the managing director, the key decision maker. As soon as you go higher than that, the tiers of leadership become quite complicated. And so being able to reach the decision maker is quite important. But also, you also want a company with high enough revenue that's going to want to pay for your services. So you can eliminate companies that are not earning enough, that have a certain annual turnover, and maybe companies that have been around for more than 10 years, because you need companies with a certain maturity. All of that is possible. And then within that industry, you're able to target leads who are active on LinkedIn, and you're able to find not only a decision maker, but a series of decision makers within each company. So you can start to approach multiple people if you need. So you can see the power of LinkedIn immediately just as a database of finding people. To visualize this and think about the potential, LinkedIn limits the amount of people that you can connect with. So you can add 100 people a week. That means you can add up to 400 people a month, and that can grow over time. If you get a 20 to 30% connection rate, which is fairly standard, a little bit conservative, then you're going to be actually receiving 100 new connections every week. And as long as those are quality connections, then that's going to obviously compound for you. So in month one, you've acquired 100 new connections. You're not losing those 100 new connections. So in month two, you now have 200 new connections. And then by month three, you have 300 new connections. The question is, what can you do with 300 new quality leads, within every quarter? How many conversations could you initiate? How many meetings could you book? And how many proposals could you get into your pipeline? The next step is like, what on earth do we say to them? How do we position what we have to offer? Now, a classic mistake that I see is people talk in terms of technical jargon. So, we have this, enterprise resource planning software. We help companies gain business benefit by implementing our software. We help people through change management and strategic planning, and we do this through our consulting services. Now, a lot of that is about us, like what we do, and it's also quite jargon heavy and technically specific. When we're talking to other people, it's not that we have to simplify it, because obviously they're very proficient at the job that they do, but we do have to position what we do in terms of benefits to them. So here's some good formulas, and you may have come across an I help formula in the past. So we help manufacturing and electronics suppliers to achieve Silicon Valley startup companies, software companies through SEO and through digital ads. Or I'm helping small to medium companies to scale by building their team without having to outsource to offshore providers. Or I'm building warehouse management teams to reduce efficiency and reduce errors and increase efficiency in 3 to 6 months, saving them millions of dollars. So you can see the formula. The verb is active. You're helping, transforming, providing something to a certain demographic to achieve a specific outcome in a time frame or without a certain pain point. So going back to the ERP or the enterprise resource planning software company, instead of saying we provide a software to help you with business benefit, it's like we need to transform that and say, I help large enterprise customers to streamline their financial reporting processes to reduce time and complexity by up to 50% with our software. So it's front loading who we help, the benefits, the tangible benefits and tangible outcomes that we provide, And how we do it is right at the end of that process. So it's worth taking a little bit of time about formulating your I help statement, how you transform, what tangible outcomes you create, what are the metrics and the impacts of the program that you provide, and then how you do that, or through what method or through what software or what tool, is entirely secondary. Another critical element of what we say to people is just sharing our content on LinkedIn. Now, all of you who are experts in your field and consultants, you'll be thought leaders, even if the thoughts are still in your mind and don't come out, in the form of content. But if you're considering writing or creating content, there's so much that you can share. So the types of content that's very powerful is really kind of tapping into the problems that people are facing. So being an expert, you would see all the classic mistakes that people are making, and you would have very specific disruptive insights that help people rethink the problem and kind of come to a solution. Share your disruptive insights. That's exactly what creates your authority and distinctiveness and attracts people to your solution. Talk about companies' frustrations and dissatisfactions with the old way, the way they've been trying to solve it. And then that paves the way for you to provide the new way, the new solution. A really great one is dealing with common misnomers. So things, false beliefs, myths. So if you can myth bust for people that this is the way to fix things, but that's actually not the most efficient way to fix it. And then you can present your solution. And of course, people will be very tired of trying things and failing. So talk about the ways that people are trying to address their problem and the common ways that those fail. But then that gives you the platform from which to talk about the solutions that you provide. And of course, touching on people's dreams, desires, goals, and objectives is absolutely critical. So they're struggling with this problem, not getting enough revenue, not scaling, inefficient processes, and where would they like to get to? They want to cut that time, ideally by 50%, if not more. They want to increase their revenue rapidly, double it, triple it within a 3 to 6 month process. If that's their dream and their desire, and you can create those outcomes, talk about that, talk about your process and how you achieve those things. Something that I always recommend is that you lead with value. So LinkedIn is not a place for spamming and pitching people and just saying, hey, I've got this service, book a call with me, this is my fee structure, anything like that. We're not pitching cold. What we are is we're offering value. So the analogy is like going to a conference and presenting a breakout session or presenting a keynote. Like, what value are you presenting up front? It's very easy as you're growing your network to run regular roundtables or masterclasses and invite people to that, particularly if it's a very curated roundtable or masterclass where the benefit from them is who they meet as well as the content that they learn. Another great thing that you can offer is just a one-to-one consultation with you. And if it's positioned well, it's not positioned as a sales call, it's positioned as a consultation where you help them solve a problem. You help them think about their problem in a new way and unlock the solution. But from that platform is where you can obviously position your services as the pathway forward to solve that problem. So key is, I would recommend never sending a calendar link in a message. Always keep it conversational. Always, if somebody would like to book a chat with you, suggest a few times, ask for their email them a calendar booking with a Zoom link or something like that. Don't just send them a booking link where they book in with you. That becomes very transactional and you can lose the conversation at that point. Again, don't pitch. We're not selling anything up front. We're getting the conversation. We're offering the value and bringing them closer into our network where we can further refine and define their needs and qualify them as, a sales qualified lead. Most importantly, you just want to be as human as possible. You don't want to be copying and pasting messages, add personalization and things. And critically, don't forget to follow up. So a lot of people I talk to have sent a lot of messages and then say, well, I didn't really get a lot of calls booked. And when I question them, how are you following up? Are you sending a second or third message just to touch base again with people? Especially if people have said they want a call and they didn't book a call. And this is where a lot of people fall down. So make sure that you're following up with leads for sure. The next step is to optimize your profile. Now, I've created a whole training on optimizing your profile, so I suggest you go and check that out. But this is just a really quick overview. Now, your profile, key points of your profile is to not make it your CV. You're not hunting for a job. You're selling your services. So optimizing your profile in such a way that it's a landing page, that it's a sales page of the services that you provide, is very critical that you position everything in terms of the benefits you create. So simple things to fix include your headlines. So we looked at that a few slides back, which was I help a certain demographic of business owners to achieve a certain outcome, benefit, or to avoid a problem through a method in a time frame. So add that to your headline. I'll show you in a minute from my LinkedIn profile what I mean by that. Add a banner image. That's the image behind your head. So use the real estate. Make sure it's a nice image that complements what your business is about, and make sure your headshot is clear of your face and it's not obscured or too dark or too far away or too close. In your about section, again, we want to make this about them, not about you. So it's not your CV or your biography. This is the section where you say who I help, how I help them, the results I've created or the case studies, my process, the steps we go through, and how someone can get in touch. And then there's other elements of the profile, such as sharing quality content and making sure you've got recommendations on your page. So let me just quickly look at my LinkedIn profile and I'll show you what I mean. So just a very quick overview. Banner image, you can use something like canva.com to create a nice banner image. You can have your company logo. You could have a call to action of text here, but definitely just make it nicely branded so it reflects your business. Make sure your profile picture is clear. Make sure your help statement is here. Don't just add your title, because the title is not dynamic. You're not a static business consultant. You help a certain type of business achieve a certain type of outcome. That's who you are. It's much more powerful. In your about section, make sure you clarify what you do. I help, and you're a bit of a track record. So list some client results, so people who've got good wins with you, and be very specific about the wins that you've got for those people. It really makes it very concrete, your offer and the types of outcomes that are possible if someone works with you. Who do you work best with? So really clarify with quite a lot of specificity the type of business and the type of problem that they're facing. So small to medium businesses that are struggling to hire, or medium-sized businesses where the owner is wanting to transition and hand over to junior leadership, and that transition and change is very difficult. Like, be very specific about the type of business that you help, and then your services and how you help them. So I typically help people in 3 steps. Firstly, we do this, then we do this, then we implement this way. And then you can add with a call to action or a way that people can get in touch with you. Make sure you've got some content that you've shared on your profile and you can pin it as featured content. Make sure you're active. Just every now and then read some other people's content, like and comment on their stuff. Make sure your experience is up to date, and that the company and the product and the service that you're wanting to sell on LinkedIn is the top piece of content here. And then make sure everything else is relevant and up to date, and that you've got skills that are relevant to your current skills, particularly obscure skills like programming languages, software or tools that you use or that you're selling. And then make sure you've got some current and relevant recommendations. And all of that makes you really strong and optimized profile. All right, the next step is to add email outreach. So you can find someone's email from their LinkedIn profile. So at the top near their about section is usually an email. You can grab their email and then immediately send them a personalized email. Hey, we've connected on LinkedIn. Would love to chat to you. Send them a similar offer. I'm running a masterclass or a roundtable. Would love you to be part of it. Or I'm offering a free consultation. Would you like to have a chat? At this point, do not subscribe anyone to your marketing. People have to opt in and be willing to get your newsletter, but an individualized, personalized, business-related outreach is entirely fine from a GDPR perspective. By all means, check GDPR for your region and make sure you're compliant for the area of the world that you're in. But once you've connected with someone on LinkedIn, if their email is visible, then definitely take it and send them a personalized email. I would always advocate that your email marketing is as human as your LinkedIn. So lead with value, no spamming or pitching, humanize the message, personalize it, show that you've taken a little bit of time just to get to know about them. And then you can, obviously send the email and connect. So in brief, the topic of this presentation was how to fill up your pipeline with leads. If you can add 100 people a week on LinkedIn, that means 100 new connections every month with a 20 to 30% connection rate. Then if you can also send those leads an email, then you've got a double chance of kind of securing some kind of engagement with that person. If they're not using LinkedIn, that they might respond on email. If they're not responsive on email, they might be responsive on LinkedIn. Out of those 100 a month, if you could host a roundtable and secure 10 people to attend your roundtable or masterclass, then now you have 10 decision makers who are really warm to you, who've gotten to know you, who've attended something about your thought leadership and a way that you're able to solve their problems. Do you think you could get 5 consultations out of those 10, as in 5 serious leads, 5 sales conversations, 5 proposals? Maybe even 2 out of 10 is a pretty good strike rate. That's 55 consultations or 60 consultations a year, or even 24 consultations a year is a pretty good strike rate. And all you need to do, if one deal size for you is 30 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand, all you need to do is close 5 of those a year. And now you've added an extra 100 grand plus to your bottom line. And this is all entirely by organic LinkedIn outreach, organic emailing, running one event a month with one masterclass, or offering a few free consultations. When you think of these numbers, like how much business do you think you can generate for your business over the next year? It's a good thing to think about. So I'll leave it there. I'd welcome you to connect with me on LinkedIn. There's my LinkedIn. It's Jen Bishop Consulting. Please email me. I'd love to have a chat with you about your plans to grow LinkedIn, grow your email outreach, fill up your pipeline with leads. You can find out more about me at Jen Bishop Consulting. There's more free training there and more value content. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for listening to the video, and I'll see you in the next one.